Welcome everybody to today's Triple P topic, parenting during COVID-19. Parents and caregivers play a central role in how children and teens will experience a challenging situation like COVID-19. This means the more you can do as a parent or caregiver to focus on the positive, take care of yourself and your needs, and put your family first, the more likely you are to build your child's resilience and that your whole family will thrive during this time. With this in mind, we'd like to share one of 10 positive parenting strategies developed by Dr. Matt Sanders, who's the founder of Triple P International, and psychologist Dr. Vanessa Cobham, who is an expert in helping families manage well during and after disasters. COVID-19 represents a challenge to families around the world that's unlike anything that we've ever experienced. Most people, when confronted with a highly stressful situation like this, have a basic concern for the welfare and safety of their children. To care for children effectively, first, parents must really look after themselves. As parents, we can be feeling a range of uncomfortable emotions like anxiety, anger, or sadness, as well as uncertainty about what to do and how to cope. These feelings are normal and they're expected at a time like this. It's important for us to remember and to remind our children that our communities are working to keep people safe. My name is Emily Harriet, and today I want to talk about an important strategy, and that is reassuring your child that your family is your top priority. In all conversations with your child, stay as calm and comforting as possible. Let your child know that they should tell you if they're feeling sick in any way, and demonstrate through both your actions and your words that is part of your job as their parent to do everything they can to keep you safe, and that's exactly what you're doing. You might literally say to them, "I'm your parent. It's my job to keep you safe, and we are doing everything we can." Statements like this help kids feel safer, and for older children, it will help them understand why you must observe restrictions that are being placed on all families. Things like not being able to go to parks or not being able to spend time with people outside of your family. Think about what you can do to remain calm as you talk to your child about COVID-19. What can you do to reduce your anxiety if you're feeling any? It's also helpful to think about when and where you will talk to your children about what's happening. One family I know has agreed that they're only going to talk about COVID-19 after lunch when they all go on a walk together. At that time, kids can ask any questions that they have, and parents will do their best to answer the questions. Taking an idea like this and using it in your family could be particularly helpful if you have kids who are wanting to talk about COVID-19 all the time or are experiencing a lot of anxiety.
My name is Anna Sawatsky, and I'd like to talk with you about taking care of yourself the best you can. It's entirely reasonable to feel many different emotions in this current situation, maybe even to feel a lot of emotions in a short period of time. Think of yourself as a phone battery. The more calls you have to make, the more that come in, the more demands on your time and attention, the more drained you become. When this happens, it's very difficult to be calm and reassuring for your child. We therefore need to make it a priority that we fill our batteries back up and take care of ourselves. In doing so, we model effective coping skills for our children, and we're better able to support them in whatever they are feeling and experiencing. Here are some strategies for dealing with big, uncomfortable emotions. The first is to pay attention to your thoughts and emotions. Notice what you're feeling and give it a name. You might even find it helpful to say, "I notice that I am feeling anxious or afraid or sad or angry," or whatever it is that you're feeling. Take a break from your family if you're not in control of your emotions. You can say, "I'm feeling upset right now and it's hard to be calm. I'm going to my room for 10 minutes and we can talk about this after that." Again, doing so models good coping skills and gives you a chance to calm down. Talking to people who will support you can be very helpful. Find someone who you think has energy to talk to you or is generally supportive, and then be honest with that person. Remember, they can't read your mind, and you might need to say, "I'm feeling really overwhelmed right now, and I just need somebody to listen." Exercise is a great way to cope with stress, depression, anxiety. It gets natural endorphins flowing and generally makes you feel better about everything. I know someone who decided she was going to walk a block a day for a week, and then 2 blocks a day for a week, and then 3 until she met her exercise goal. Think about what your exercise goal is and what steps you can take now to begin to work toward that. In the meantime, every time you're out there moving your body, you're doing a lot for your own mental health. Deep breathing is something you can try to get a lot more oxygen flowing to your brain, which just generally helps us cope better with everything. There are a lot of different ways to do this. Look online. There's hot chocolate breathing and 4-square breathing. So find something that you think you'd like to try. Mindfulness is something else you might want to learn more about by looking it up. It basically means letting go of the pain of the past and anxiety about the future and what those bring to the present moment, and instead just focusing on that moment. Something you might try is pausing in what you're doing and just noticing the moment. What do you smell? What do you hear? What do you see? What do you feel? Just be in that moment and let go of the rest for a short time, and it can help to reduce your stress. Some other ways to manage uncomfortable emotions are to avoid or limit stresses and triggers. So consider only finding reliable sources for information about COVID-19 and staying away from social media and other places where people share their anxiety and rumors and that kind of thing. Your phone might be able to tell you how much time you spend every day. Think about how much time you think you should spend and set yourself a goal and then stick with it. Eating well and getting enough sleep are very important right now. It can be tempting to eat whatever is around us all the time or to stay up if we have less of a schedule, but those good habits are really important right now. This can be easier said than done, but know that Triple P supports you in getting those healthy things that you need. This can be a good time to take up a hobby, maybe rediscover something that you used to enjoy, or learn something new that you haven't done before. Singing, dancing, gardening, juggling, knitting, painting. There are a number of different things that we can try, probably with things you have around the house. So choose something and use this as an opportunity. And the final step is to avoid using drugs or alcohol to lessen the stress. While this might seem like a good plan in the short term, or like it might reduce the stress, in the long term, it creates a lot more stress. If none of these is really working for you, or if you do find yourself turning to drugs or alcohol, consider seeking professional help and reaching out to someone for more help. So look back over all these strategies that we've just talked about. I'll show you this other slide. And choose one or two that you think you'd like to try and write it down. And then write down how you plan to use it. When will you start? How often will you do this thing? Is there anything you need to prepare in order to be able to do it? Consider sharing your plan with someone else who can hold you accountable and keep you motivated, and that person also might want to choose a strategy to try. After you've used it for a while, revisit it. How has that been going? What have you done well in using that strategy, and what could you do differently? Is there anything you need to add to your plan or to take away from your plan? These are all skills that it takes a lifetime to learn, and we can always keep developing them.
My name is Trisha Lightfoot, and today I want to talk to you about an important strategy that focuses on making sure that your children know that you are ready to talk. So most of our children are not going to be as preoccupied or concerned about COVID-19 like many of us adults are. However, it is very important for us to remind our children and to let them know that they can come and openly talk with us about any questions or concerns that they might have that do revolve around COVID-19, quarantine, or e-learning. So how do we talk about COVID-19 with our kids? First off, we just start by letting them know that we're available, telling them something simply as, hey, if you ever want to talk about what's going on with COVID-19, e-learning or staying at home, why we can't go see grandma, whatever, you can always come and ask me questions. We'll talk about it, we'll figure it out. Like, come tell me what's bugging you if something's bugging you. Just go and tell them, let them know, verbalize to them that you are available. We can't assume that our children know. Like, they're not going to grab this through osmosis, just assuming that they can come talk to us. Sometimes we just need to be extra verbal with them and let them know, and just be point blank, like, hey, come and talk to me. If you've got an issue about it, we'll do this together. We're a team. We're a family. So give them that heads up. Go ahead and also let them take the lead in the conversation about how long or how short the conversation could be. All right, so they're going to test the waters. Sometimes the information that you share, in truth, could be a lot for their brain to handle. So the conversation might be a little shorter than what you would hope it to be. And that's okay. We want to make sure that we have realistic expectations about a good conversation that our child has about COVID-19 with us. As parents, we also want to watch for signs of distress or behavioral changes. So these are going to be clues for us to notice if something might be bothering them inside, internally. So a child who might have been clingy when they were younger, who've all of a sudden become more clingy when they haven't been clingy in a while, that could be a little warning flag flying for you to be like, something might be bugging them. Maybe a child who has all of a sudden shown signs of aggression where they've never been aggressive or super angry before. Good warning flags for us as parents to pay attention to go to them later and ask them, like, hey, is there anything bothering you today that you'd like to talk about? Or some other way of bringing up the topic of conversation. We also want to make sure that when our children are talking with us about COVID-19, or anything really, we want to actively be listening. So we're giving them all of our attention. We're looking at them. We're paying attention to what they're saying, maybe even getting down at eye level to have the conversation with them. And having that eye contact can be really empowering. Also, we want to maybe summarize what they're telling us when they're done talking to make sure that we're hearing it correctly and to demonstrate that we have heard them and we were truly listening to them. When they do share about their feelings, we need to make sure that we reassure them and let them know that it's okay to be feeling what they are feeling. Feelings are feelings, and feelings are okay. We want to help our children find healthy ways to express these emotions, though. So figure out what works for your child. Is it drawing? Is it coloring? Is it writing? Is it playing with their cars? Is it having their Barbie dolls or teddy bears talking to each other about COVID-19, or not getting to go to grandma's house or have the birthday party? Like, how does your child express their emotions? Encourage that creativity and imaginative play if that is helpful for them to process their emotions. We also want to make sure that we can reassure our children that people all around the world are working to find and develop helpful medicines for COVID-19. So again, letting your child know that it's a worldwide team effort, that we're all striving towards this one goal of finding a cure or a medicine of any kind for COVID-19. One last tip here about when talking with our children about COVID-19 is to make sure that we're careful. We want to be careful and about how much we share with them. Because again, we don't want to accidentally increase or create fear or distress within our child. So this is why we follow our child's lead within the conversation. This is why if the child cuts the conversation off and they walk away after maybe having one question answered, we let the topic go, because we want to make sure that we're not accidentally setting them up to be fearful of something they don't need to fear, because the burden, the responsibility of keeping the family safe lies with us as parents. So we want to help our children have a healthy perspective during COVID-19.
My name is Anna Sawatsky, and I'd like to share with you about important strategy being truthful in answering children's questions. This is very important because research has shown that children are more likely to feel stressed when their parents give them too much information about a stressful situation, or don't want to talk about it all and don't give them enough information. So these 5 steps will help us to get that perfect balance of giving children the information they need without giving them too much. So the first step is to ask questions. Find out what the child already knows. This might reveal that they either have a lot more information than you expected, or that they've heard a lot of rumors and things that other people are saying that might be causing them a little bit of concern. So finding out what they already know is a good way to start this conversation. The second step is to keep answers simple and appropriate to their developmental stage and to their personality. You know your child best. Does this child do best with a lot of information? Does that help them to calm down and know that they've got the information? Or does this child do better not hearing quite as much and being a little more protected? So know your child and know what is appropriate for their developmental level and their personality. The third step is to share facts. And in order to do this, we need to make sure we're getting our information from reliable sources. UNICEF, the World Health Organization, the CDC. Make sure that you find a source that gives good information and that is not relying on what people are generally saying or rumors that are out there. If in doubt, find out. It's great to say to a child, I don't know, that's a good question, let's look that up. If the child doesn't want to spend more time working on it, that's fine. They don't have to, and you don't have to do the research. If you want to still look into it more, you can let them know, well, I'm interested in that, I'll look into it. And if you want to talk about it more, come talk to me and we can talk about that. And then the fifth step is to be careful of making promises. My children want to know things like, will we be playing baseball again? Will we have a sleepover the first day stay-at-home orders are lifted? I can't make any of these promises. We also don't want to tell them, well, everything will be back to normal by your birthday or by the summer. None of us really know what next steps are going to look like, and we can be truthful with that as we all get used to this unknown reality together.
So my name is Trisha Lightfoot, and today I'd like to talk to you about the importance of maintaining your everyday routines during a situation such as COVID-19. Now, I don't know about you, but my family's routine and my personal routine was greatly disrupted when COVID-19 happened. Like bonkers out the window, no more routine. Everything was very much disrupted. E-learning started to take place, then schools canceled for the rest of the year, working from home, finding ways to balance e-learning with my kids, balancing working from home. Everybody's sharing the space. Like we had to work real quickly and real hard to find a new way to manage our routines and to work well together as we had to share things in a new way. So how do we go ahead and develop a routine? How do we adjust during a change like this? So first thing you want to do is you want to go ahead and plan together. Involve the whole family in this because it's affecting the whole family. So get your children's feedback on what they think a routine should look like, what they think should be included in a routine. Give your ideas in. Listen to their ideas, and then as you guys create a routine, have some realistic time frames in mind of adjustment. So give yourself some grace as you adjust. A lot of folks don't like change. That's okay. Change can be scary, and it can be really scary for kids too. So give yourself some time to adjust to the new routine and to the change that takes place. And I'm going to encourage you parents, like, change can be hard, so expect a little bit of pushback from your kids. Expect them to test the boundaries and to test the new routine and be okay with that. Have a plan on how to deal with that. Find a way to schedule and increase your child's coping skills during quarantine. If you guys are having to keep away from things, find a way to go ahead and allow them to maybe still exercise. Find ways that they can get their energy out of their body because they're kids, even teenagers, and ourselves as adults. We've got to do something to use our energy. And again, be flexible in trying new ways to create a routine and then to stick with it. So you can be flexible, so you give it a timeline, you stick with it for a little bit. If you see areas that need to be adjusted, that's where you go ahead and you're a little bit flexible and you make some adjustments. And involve your kids in that process again as well. Get their feedback on what they think is working well and what they don't feel is working well. So on this next slide is an example of a basic routine that you could create or something similar to it. So as much as possible, you want to stick to your normal family routines that you had before COVID-19 happened. So getting up in the morning, getting dressed and getting ready to start the day. We might not be going anywhere, but it's still very important for us to take care of our person and to get ourselves dressed for the day. So have a morning routine preparing for the day. You can set aside some designated times for playtime, designated time for school, snack times maybe, like if your kids like to snack. My kids love to snack. a lot. So find ways to incorporate snacks into the routine if that's going to be helpful for you and your kids. I'd also encourage you to go ahead, if you're working from home, to find a way to take a break and eat some meals with your kids, and to pause your day and interact with them during the day to help them succeed and work through their day, and just to stay connected, to keep things moving smoothly, and you can be involved in what they're doing as much as possible. So this routine's really good. I would encourage you to, again, just stick to what you had before that was working well. So getting up, getting ready for the day, stick to bedtime routines. Again, they're not having to get up and go to school. You might not have to get up and go to work, but it's still healthy to have a predictable routine. And children do thrive in routine, and it helps give them a sense of control when they know what's going to be happening next in their day and in their life. Because right now, there's very little control that any of us have over many things right now. So we want to do this. So I'd encourage you to think about these next questions. So, what would you like your family routine to look like? How would you make your family aware of the new routine or changes to the routine? When do you think you could start creating a routine, and when would you begin using this routine with your family? Really important things to think about. You want to have a plan of when you're going to start, how you're going to say this. Are you willing to post the routine up on the wall to help the kids remember? Visuals can be very helpful to help set them up for success, to keep them following it. If you've got little ones, you can have pictures, you can have words. Who knows? Maybe you use an app. Find something that's going to work for you guys. So my name is Trisha Lightfoot, and I want to talk to you about the importance of having a family plan to help bring balance in these uncertain times for our children. So what is a family plan? A family plan really just talks about having an idea of how you're going to go ahead and deal with unique situation, mostly about how we practice social distancing, how we manage during quarantine, how we go manage as we're going out and about in the world, how we manage the stressors and then the good times. How do we stay focused and stay positive during a time like this? So this is a great opportunity for us as parents and caregivers to help our teens and our children adjust and to thrive as we stay home during quarantine, as we practice social distancing, as we're out and about, and again, as we get out and about in the world more, as more and more businesses open up and cities open up all again. So how do you involve a family plan as you get back out into society? One of the great ways to start with a family plan is to practice healthy hygiene. So this is regular hand washing, teaching your children the importance of washing their hands regularly when they're at home, after they come inside from playing outside. They're touching any doorknobs and door handles for inside-outside access. If they've helped carry the groceries in from the car, like it's a good time for them to wash their hands. As we get back out into the world, if they're out and about with you, using sanitizer, teaching your children to use that and to use it frequently, reminding them, like if you go out to eat fast food, you want them to sanitize their hands before they start eating those French fries if you were just at the grocery store. So talking about and planning with them how frequently and how often they should be sanitizing their hands out and about, how often they should be washing their hands at home, and talking about like maybe where you're going to keep the hand sanitizer. Does mom carry it, or does everybody have their own? Planning ahead for things like this to set them up for success, to go ahead and stay as germ-free as possible. Another thing we can talk with our kids about is the social distancing. So when we're out and about, how far away do we stand from people? So like teaching your kids like socially where they're putting their arms out. That's personal bubble. Their arms might not be 6 feet across, but it's a start. So helping them like figure out the space around them, giving them tools that they can use to create this space. You can also encourage them to be aware that people are going to be wearing masks, and maybe they should be wearing a mask too. So if you have masks, put masks on your kids. Practice using a mask with your kids, teaching them how to put it on, get them comfortable with that feel of it on their nose, at the bottom of their jaw. It's a kind of a unique thing, and it could bug a lot of children. So practice using that with them, get them comfortable with that. If you want to make it fun, make it fun. Draw some smiley faces on here, maybe glue some googly eyes. I don't know, have some fun with it. Get your kids comfortable with their face masks and encourage them to put a smile on their face. We can also, in our family plans, incorporate kindness and acts of kindness for others, teaching our children to be aware of others and not just aware of themselves and things that are happening within our own family. So, again, thinking outside of themselves, encouraging generosity, offering to pick up groceries for somebody who can't go get groceries. Maybe somebody's susceptible to COVID-19 or easily gets sick. Maybe they can't go outside anymore. So you could offer your kids to help mow the grass or pick their groceries up from the store or drop them off at the door. Like, who knows? You can get really creative during a time like this. And this is a great opportunity for us as parents to plan this together with our kids and incorporate that into the plan and get their ideas and get their feedbacks. I've heard neighborhoods, they do, I think it was called like a teddy bear I Spy. So the neighborhood got involved and they'd stick teddy bears or something goofy in their window. So when the kids would walk with their parents, they could play I Spy to find fun and cool things in the windows of their neighborhoods. So find ways to encourage those around you, even if you can't get out and about yourself. Now, creating a family plan is great, and we want to do that, help your kids set them up for success here. But within our plan, sometimes things have to change. And COVID-19, there can be a lot of rapid changes quite quickly, and government regulations and recommendations can change from day to day a little bit. So your plan might need to be revised frequently, and we have to keep up on that as much as possible as parents. So when you revisit your family plan with your kids, I encourage you keep your family plan meetings brief and matter of fact. So sweet, simple, and to the point. So it doesn't have to take up a lot of time. If you need to practice using your family plan with your kids, especially if you have little ones, practicing how long they need to wash their hands, getting in between their fingers and their fingernails, do that. That's good practice. And it can be fun to do that with your kids. Lots of bubbles.
My name is Scott Berkey, and today I want to talk about an important strategy. It can help you avoid challenging behaviors from your children. The key is to plan ahead, be proactive, teach your children the value of being prepared. Plan ahead by having plenty of interesting things to do at home. When children are busy, they're less likely to be bored, anxious, sad, or get into trouble. Work with your children to come up with a list of 20 or more activities, fun things, stuff they can do if they find themselves bored or not sure what to do. Make sure that you include physical activities to keep children active. There are many that can be done either inside or outside. For younger children, activities might include drawing, painting, building an obstacle course, playing with blocks, or building with Play-Doh. My 6-year-old grandson, he loves playing hide and seek. Sometimes I think his aunts and uncles enjoy it just as much as he does. For older children, activities might include cooking, completing an online exercise program, drawing, playing catch, or listening to music or a podcast. Board games and puzzles are great for children of all ages. Put a copy of this list somewhere in the house where your children can easily see it, maybe on the refrigerator. This may be a good time for you and your child to take on a new project together. You could learn a new language or make an online photo book. Make sure the activities are not just variations on screen time. However, it's okay to loosen up on your screen time rules, allowing a little more time than you usually would. Some screen time could include other family members or friends. Try having a family movie night. You can play online games with friends. My family plays a virtual game together that's based on an old favorite. We have a lot of laughs. There are also some good apps that let you see each other as you talk to family or friends online.
My name is Deanna Montiel, and today I want to talk about an important strategy, which is to take notice of behaviors you like. During this difficult time, think about the values, skills, and behaviors you wish to encourage in your children. There are many opportunities to teach your children important skills like being caring, taking turns, cooperating, cooking, cleaning. Think of these values. And when you notice your children doing something you like, name the behavior and give them plenty of praise and positive attention to encourage it in the future. You can say, for example, Victoria, it was lovely that you suggested to call your grandmother. That was so kind that you thought to do that. She really appreciated the call. Or, thank you for reading quietly and waiting until I was done with my work call or Zoom meeting to ask you your question. Remember, we get more of the behavior we notice and pay attention to.
My name is Anna Sawatsky, and I'd like to share with you about helping children to tolerate more uncertainty. COVID-19 is creating uncertainty for everyone in some way, and as parents, it can be hard ourselves to accept this uncertainty. However, it's important that we work through this, that we learn to accept it, and through our actions and words, we can demonstrate this acceptance to our children. And I have some really great news for you. Learning to tolerate uncertainty, as hard as it is an incredibly important life skill that psychologists are learning more about. It might seem hard to believe it right now, but being able to practice this skill and get better at tolerating uncertainty is going to help our children in the long run. So when our children are pushing us for answers and want to know when will this end and what do we have to do and what's next week going to look like and what's next month going to look like and when can we see grandma and when can we play sports and are we going to have school next year and all of these things, the answer is we don't know, and that's okay to say that. So an example of something we might say is, we don't know when this is going to be over. I know it's hard not to know. After we've listened to them and let them process that, we might want to say, we're going to remind ourselves that we are doing our best to stay well and safe and that the whole world is working together on this problem. I'm finding it's especially hard with my children now that quarantine is easing up a little bit, that it's getting harder for them to tolerate uncertainty. They want answers. And I've had to say, yes, some things are getting back to normal, and I still don't know when your sports will start again, or when you'll be able to have another sleepover at your friend's house. It's hard for them to hear this. I try to stay calm and tell them what I do know and tell them what I don't know. Big changes to their lives can be scary, and they can also bring opportunities for new learning new ways of communicating, learning life skills, maybe around the house, taking up a new interest, and very, very importantly, learning to tolerate uncertainty. If you have more serious concerns about your child's emotional health, seek professional support, reach out to someone, and work with them to help develop this skill in your child.
My name is Maria. Today I want to talk about an important strategy, which is to reach out and connect with loved ones. Despite recommendations for social and physical distancing, I encourage you to challenge feelings of isolation or being alone and stay connected with those that you love and care about. So how do we do this? Well, the easiest way is to make use of our resources. What are those resources that we have? We have phones, online communication tools such as Zoom, WhatsApp. Those are also called social media. These are very great tools that we have nowadays. Let's use these to keep in touch with family and friends and neighbors. Our children love being experts. Let's allow them to share their knowledge of social media and technology. In an ever-evolving world, our children are more familiar with technology, sometimes more than us as adults. Give them the rein and allow them to teach us how to connect with those that they love and care about. Explore different options for long-distance physical contact. How can we create physical contact without actually giving that physical contact? I saw this really great idea on Pinterest of laying our children out and cutting out their hand span in a way that it kind of creates a hug once it's cut out and colored in. We can do that and leave it on the porches of those special family members that we haven't seen and we'd like to give a hug to. Another idea is connecting with neighbors. How can we connect with neighbors at a appropriate distance? let's provide those little cup phones that were made with a styrofoam cup and a line. The idea is to be creative. Use those resources that you do have. Look up online. Pinterest is a great way to look up ideas to stay connected. Social media, another way to stay connected. Use your tools. For additional questions and support after watching this video, like us on Facebook for regular tips, or you are more than welcome to join our Zoom support groups on Thursdays. If you have a question or you would like to email us, our contact info is info@elkhart.county.org. You may also subscribe to our YouTube channel. And lastly, if you would like to speak to somebody in person, you may contact us at our bilingual line at 574-226-0160.